Welcome back to the second match of the second week of the 28th Grand Arena season, and I'm playing against Q-Tip, who is also from the GC Alliance and has over 1.1 million legacy lifetime banners, so very good opponent. And I would describe their style as sneaky efficiency, because the way they played my defense told me that they kept a lot of teams for offense, but also that they kept some teams on defense and were sneaking in the back, which at least I guessed, because the way they played my defense, they had some fails, but it told me that there at least would be one GL in the back and potentially one GL in either DR or gas, or maybe even two GLs. And so I had to take this in consideration when going against this defense, which looked quite interesting, especially this Fulcrum team that replaces CLS. But other than that, nothing like too concerning in the top wall. But the front, the south wall, sorry, the bottom wall was quite interesting. Some sneaky teams, and especially the Starkiller team is sneaky, of course, or dangerous. But the really sneaky team is the Boba Fett team, which in a version of this I also placed on defense, and it also got some holds. So it's quite something to reckon with, or like a menace to deal with, and we will see how that went down. Other than that, yeah, great teams for defense to sneaky teams. And I started with the battle that I want to get out of the way, just like the Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron, want to get out of the way with. So I tried Bad Batch, but somehow, yeah, speeds didn't really line up this time for me, and so I had a problem because Anakin came out of stun. And yeah, I kind of muscle memory the whole battle, and then suddenly, yeah, my 2/3 of my team were gone, but nothing majorly concerning, because I knew that my opponent couldn't full clear me because there were too many tries on my Shark team, so I was fine with losing banners here as long as I still have the potential to full clear the board, would be fine. Then I was a Starkiller, as you can see. I took in Wampa again. The potency tenacity check worked out for me, so I said, why not? There were other teams I could try against this, for instance the CLS team with 2PO and C3PO, but yeah, I wanted to try Wampa just to see if I just got lucky the last time I played it, or it was okay. And apparently there is some RNG involved, especially with the counter attacks, but other than that, it's quite straightforward. Of course, you need some speed on your Wampa to make it work, so if you don't have no additional speed, it doesn't really work, I'd say, because then Mara J just will run circles around you and potentially eventually stun you after tenacity down is applied. But as long as that doesn't happen, whoosh, it's fine. So took out the team, then I went back to this fight, and here I made a mistake. I actually wanted to place or use Dooku instead of Savage, who already is out of the match, and yeah, I think Dooku would have been better, but yeah, at least I got out Anakin and still had to deal with Cam, and poor Assassin didn't really stand a chance there, but yeah, at least you got out Anakin. I wanted Dooku for the counter attacks, but also for shock and potential stuns. But yeah, misclick and was too quick when selecting the team. So one lesson learned is like always double check before just going to a fight. And then I took in those, yeah, bounty hunter leftovers, scoundrel leftovers. I thought they could potentially deal with Cam. And he was close. I should have used the basic there with Embo instead of the grenade, because the basic potentially would have, yeah, gotten through him when he was close to dying already, and with some double taps or triple taps or whatever, how lucky I would have gotten. But that didn't happen, and so Cam kind of, yeah, turned the tables around on me, as you can see, and took out the team. So then I had to take another team, and I took in some resistance leftovers, and I still wasn't sure if they can take it out, Cam, because he's quite a menace, especially with his stance swap and the recovery of protection, but also the daisies and everything. So he's even as a single character, he can be annoying, as you've seen. But eventually I took him out, and so got 21 banners. But it wasn't really about efficiency for me. Efficiency to a certain extent. I didn't want to drop as many battles as my opponent did to get to the back wall, so that if in case there are like 2 GLs or maybe even 3 GLs, who knows, I still would be able to win on efficiency by clearing the fleets and potentially only like 2 or 3 teams in the back. So that was a consideration, but overall I wasn't really concerned about efficiency in my matches. I just tried to be not too sloppy, let's put it like that. Then against this, Scoundrel, again, Separatist mixed team, I took in JKR. I changed my defense a bit, and I put Jolie on defense, which I would have loved to use here, but then again I thought, why not use Ayla? She has nice stuns if there isn't high tenacity on Nest, which was the case here, but eventually it wasn't high enough to survive. Then there was this new team. It is the same combination my previous opponent set. Back then I used Padme with GMY, which wasn't available anymore because I used in the match before. And so I took in Mon Mothma with Pow and Scout, which I thought is the best way to deal with this team. You have this spell for the taunt once the soldier is summoned. Worthless guy, I think Xerath calls him. I don't know if he's really worthless, but he's kind of fun. And other than that, it's a pretty simple matchup, I'd say. The idea is to get rid of the taunt as often as possible, which isn't really a problem because you have the call to assist, so you get rid of the taunt, then focus down Geo Brute and get them out of the way, so the Geos are down, and then just take B1 out and Newt. It's pretty straightforward. You could end with full banners, but I didn't really pay attention on that amount of efficiency, like panel pitching efficiency, which is nice when you don't play efficiency. And so it was overall, I think, 1 banner lost or so. There was checking if I had recorded, which was answered yes, and so then there is this team, Boba with Sam and Dengar. It's interesting because it's dangerous, mainly because of Boba and his rocket. Last time I played against this team, I used the trio and increased cooldowns, so the rocket really wasn't a problem. But this time I wanted to save Traya, and so I took in those Jedi because I expected they should work. But as you can see, it's quite dicey already. Only took out Sam, which is great for cleanup, so no more bonuses from her. Or even like from that point on in the match, the bonuses are gone. But still, the contract is triggered. And Boba just takes out the rest of the Jedi. So it's a great team. But I also deliberately, difficult word for me, sorry. I didn't take my best Jedi, let's put it like that. Because I wanted to save them, to see what's in the back. That was the whole attack strategy I had. Don't use teams like Starkiller, or don't use teams like Maul, so I have them for the back for whatever is to come there. And then I used this team, Krennic lead with range, and usually I take in Death Trooper because the synergies between range, Krennic, and Death is just amazing. You can stun lock teams essentially because of the call to assist between range and Death, and the Krennic synergy. So great team, also even without Death Trooper. And that was back wall. And my gut feeling was right. So there were 2 GLs. I'd say the toughest GL on defense was this JMK. And it's not the easiest GL, but it's kind of figured out by now. Lord Vader. Other than that, we have an Iden Versio team, which of course is also a little bit like of a question mark behind it because I don't have Wampa, but there is no tank, so I thought I have something for this, and the other teams are pretty standard. But before going there, I wanted to clear the top wall, just to make sure I can clear fleets, and then basically try to clear the back wall with the 1 GL I have available. Versus the Poe sandwich, the Fin Poe sandwich, I used the team which I used before, or like in one of the matches. So it's Bo-Katan lead, Canderous, and Armorer. And the idea is essentially you just take out Finn as the first with the mass swarm from the armorer. Then with the 3 stacks, you give them to Canderous, you taunt with Canderous, and then they just will attack him, he will counter, get a ton of turn meter while he's countering, and yeah, ideally just take out the team very easily. It's a very nice counter, like not only for that team, but in general, it's a nice team. Yeah, one sad thing here is like I got days on Bo-Katan. I didn't really have the time left because no more attacks left to recover her full protection, so I lost the banner. But other than that, it's a great team. And yeah, I won for versus this Padme team. I'm playing again the Traya comp. I kind of prefer to take down Padme in freeze, which is from the Nihilist, so no tank here. The idea is just like isolate Padme, then fracture the tank or who's ever the next most dangerous on the team. In this case, I took out the main damage dealer first, Snips, and then just like, yeah. Could have formed the tank, Wrecker, could have formed Padme to get back to full banners essentially. And the nice thing about this is you never run the risk of a timeout because Nihilus is always like your safe way out. One more remark to the previous battle where this is going down, it's pretty straightforward. The previous battle with the Mandalorians, if there wouldn't have been a JMK team with GK, I would have tried at least how Maul works versus JMK. For that I would have needed armor, but because there was GK, I didn't try that, so it was no option for me. So I could, or armor was safe to use in that team. Yeah, didn't recover all banners here because I wasn't really panda pinching, so 56 was okay. Then versus this interesting team, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I took in JKL, which used to be like my main CLS counter for the longest time in previous 3 versus 3 seasons before Viridian made an impact. Because, yeah, and that was also before the nerf of JKL, because it was so easy to take out this team with just JKL, Hoda, and Ezra, or Shaq instead of Hoda and Ezra. You would just focus down CLS immediately, and the rest would happen via call to assist from Ezra on JKL. But this wasn't available, so I still used JKL here, and it was an easy enough battle. Nothing really struggling, but still also not full banners, of course. Then Wedge, Han, Chewie versus this Dash team, which of course without the Omicron or L3, not L3, Vendor, it's quite easy to take out, especially with Han, of course, Han and Chewie. I mean, they basically carry this whole thing. And versus the JTR team, I flipped the tables and used the team that usually is used JTR on, so CLS, 2PO, 3PO. And it felt quite okay. I also could have used Night Sisters here. It's pretty safe. Not safe, but it's okay. But I wanted to save Night Sisters for the back wall for Grievous, so I thought, why not? Why not use this team? And it kind of works out. Once JTR is out of the picture, it's pretty much game over for the team. And of course, you could have recovered full banners here, full protection, but yeah, wasn't really important to me at that stage. Then we had fleets opened, and we a Radus fleet, Malevolence, and Finalizer fleet. So in terms of fleets, my opponent had full offense. And versus Radus, I used the Rebels this time, which is, I think, very straightforward, very simple. Also, the new tank doesn't really change it. But I've had battles where it became dicey. So it really comes down to how the opening play goes and who you can take out and how fast you can take them out. Yeah, but once you call in Cassian, it's game over for them. Pretty straightforward. The next battle is Negotiator versus Malevolence, and yeah, it's again bad banners because I never played that in the arena, because my arena always was Negotiator dominated, and I used Finalizer versus Negotiator back then, even before Echelon existed, which was a lot of fun. And because I think I hadn't negotiated for the longest time. And even if once I had it, I didn't want to play it because why use something you never used all the time? So anyway, but I know the basics of this matchup, and so I usually feel comfortable taking it. But at times it just comes down to, you know, some minor mistakes or some minor misplays that really cost you the banners here in that case. But overall, nothing that stressed me out. Just trying to take out the bomber here, and then so that I can then get to the other droid ship. What was a bit annoying here is those dodges. I think it was like 2 or 3 dodges in a row. Like super annoying, which is like what essentially kills me in fleets, or what not really kills me, but really grinds my gears. I always have the feeling like the evasion and dodge change is just like through the roof. And they're usually always like just for the fleet that is like run by the AI, right? So it's so weird. I don't get it. 65 banners, really bad. Anyway, yeah, ships is horrible. I think it's I don't like it at all. I just play it because I have to, and it could be fun if just like it was more predictable, like RNG on the ground mostly is. But on ships, you never know. You can have like 20 dodges in a row, and the computer says no, and you have no chance to change its mind. Anyway, while I'm rambling here, versus this finalizer fleet, it's, yeah, I use Executor, which is potentially overkill, but why not? And yeah, finalizer on defense is, I think it's too easy to take out. It's even with Echelon, it's so simple. You just yeah, I don't know. You just you put isolate on the shuttle so it doesn't gain turn meter, and then you're pretty much set. That's all there is to it, I think. But yeah, again, dodges, why not? And yeah, 71 banner, which was okay, but they put me in a position that I only needed to clear 2.5 teams from this back wall, so I felt quite comfortable. And I started with the Iden team. As I said, there is no tank, so it potentially I could get around by just killing the sides and then get to Iden before she does the whole shenanigans with like her, I forgot the name of it, this green roundish debuff buff that allows her troopers to revive. And so I was just called to assist on range and then took out Iden. Not the best banners again, but it was a one-shot, which was nice. So in freeze, use a tank with Iden, it's better, I think. Then the very classic 3 versus 3 counter to GG, or one of the classics, is Night Sisters. You can also, instead of like zombie, spirit, use zombie. But I prefer spirit because of the stun, the damage output, and just because it looks nicer. Just kidding. Mainly for the stun and the damage output, which I prefer over zombie. Anyway, yeah, straightforward battle. Not the best banners, of course. With Momo, you can get like full banners, but it was okay. Then this was the match where I could have like secured my victory. And I, yeah, again, used Geos in it. And as I said, it's pretty straightforward as long as you can gain turn meter. So advantage has to fall off of hacks, and then it's quite easy. But then, of course, there is a taunt with crew. So this fight, I took crew out first just to get him out of the way, and then focus on Sith Trooper, who usually is the biggest threat. You should take him out first, and then focus on hacks, and then just farm crew to get full banners, and then nuke him out with spy. But in this case, he was just annoying, stunning my people, my insects. What are you thinking, crew? Yeah, took him out. So, and then red, he was hanging in there, right? Crit immunity is quite nice. Or what is that? Yeah, I think you can critically hit him. Yeah, and so, but once he was out, then Hux was soon to follow. Again, not good banners, but it was okay. With that battle, I secured my victory, and so the rest was pretty much for fun. Yeah, and so I took in Fennec, Bam, and Grief versus this comp with Maul. And as you can see, Bam is the safety net for this counter. At first, when I was selecting the characters, I was a little bit like nervous when the fight opened because I thought I had selected the wrong Mandalorian, but thankfully it was the right. So it's quite easy. It's also like only Relic 6 Royal Guard, and Lord Vader himself is only Relic 8, but still, it's not an easy team. But yeah, with Fennec, it's kind of figured out. The only risk with this counter is at times you lose Spam. So there is a point to make him just like super beefy as a support character and just ignore his offense capabilities completely for freeze, because his role in this battle is essentially just like a support. But even still, when he's out, I've tested this in Arena also like last week or so. Even when he's out, it's still very comfortable to take out Lord Vader. And you don't get good banners, but it feels such a simple fight. And versus JMK, I was taking in essentially 3 teams, but not really. I know people say that Lord Vader isn't that good, but it's also because they don't use Piet, and I think not using Maul and Piet on Lord Vader is like not using Snips and Cat on JMK. So you really can't compare these 2 matchups without these tunes. And versus this comp, I think I need Piet so he can, because he was very fast, so Cat can eventually, when she gets to it, use her Whirlwind, or what's it called? I don't know. I just say Whirlwind because it looks similar, on Lord Vader, feed his ultimate. But the best thing about this is that you can call Lord Vader to assist, which is huge in freeze. So the main goal here for this battle was to take out at least Cat or GK, and then potentially I could clean it up if I lose. But it feels pretty straightforward, to be honest. So taking out GK and then focusing on Cat. As you can see, the basics from Piet help with the call to assist, and then it's just 3 versus 1. And I was kind of surprised how good and simple this battle was. Again, of course, you essentially taking a trooper team away, or potentially trooper team. There are other trooper teams you can do in freeze, but the best trooper team is non-existent when you use this counter. And you don't have Maul for his own team, but you don't need it depending on the comps. And I really like this matchup. I was surprised. I never had played it before, but I kind of liked it. So it's kind of fun. And with that, I got the full clear, which I didn't expect, to be honest, when I saw the back wall first, because I wasn't clear if this Lord Vader thing would work. Happy it did, and quite impressive, to be honest. So I got the win. Again, shout out to my opponent, who played very well, given that he only had like 4 GLs on offense, but also Darth Revan and Gas, but still a very impressive run. And so that was that. Thanks for watching. I'm in the finals again, and we'll see how will that go. See you then. Bye.